As we put up the 7 countries involved here, the administration is pointing to immigration law, and they're also pointing to the Obama administration singling out these 7 countries. Federal immigration law includes Section 1182, which states whenever the president finds that the entry of any aliens or any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, he may by proclamation and for such period as he shall deem necessary suspend the entry of all aliens or any class of aliens as immigrants or non-immigrants, or impose on the entry of aliens any restrictions he may deem to be appropriate. That is Section 1182. So he has the right to do this.
Well, first of all, I think all that will be litigated in court, among other things. But I will say, when you bring up President Obama, he's made it clear. And when you look back what happened, one country, there were some reports. They went back and looked at everyone that had been allowed in from Iraq and made a decision, and then that program continued. It wasn't this kind of travel freeze, and it certainly didn't involve all refugees from all over the world, or people stuck at airports, or people stuck abroad, or students in Canada that can't come in because they're from another country.
You're concerned about vetting for refugees, right?
Of course, and I have supported vetting at its best. Right now, the process for refugees is one of the most thorough ones we have. It can take 18 months, 2 years. Minnesota is population of the second biggest Hmong population in the country, the biggest Somali population, biggest Liberian, biggest Oromo. They are legal workers, Brett, and they are working in every hospital and shopping mall in our state.
Well, you've had 13 of them from Minnesota who have been charged as ISIS-linked cases since 2014.
By the way, a prosecutor that is a good friend of mine that I made sure got into that office because I knew he would be aggressive, and that's important.
So let me just point to Minnesota.
Are law-abiding.
Minnesota exit polls in 2016. The top issues facing the country, economy drove the day, but the next two combined were about 31%, terrorism and immigration. For those who thought terrorism was the top issue, they voted for Donald Trump 51-41 over Hillary Clinton. For those that thought immigration was their top issue, they voted 73% to 22%. So, Senator, voters in your own state thought Donald Trump was more on message if those were the two issues that they felt were most important.
Well, I'm not going to relitigate the whole presidential campaign. What I know is that going forward, we might have different views in our state, but people do want their government to work. So that when a president puts out an order, they want to make sure that that president has consulted with the law enforcement involved, the agencies involved, consulted with businesses that have employees that are overseas, and that just didn't happen here. And I think some of the feedback that we're hearing now, and that's a euphemism for protests and everything, is because of that. And changes have to be made as one country. And not everyone's going to be happy with them, but the way that this was handled, I think it was Senator Portman, a Republican. You have a number of Republicans voicing concerns today, McCain, Graham, Collins, Sass. Okay, so, but Senator Portman said it, maybe for some of your viewers, I thought the most interesting way. He said the vetting rule wasn't vetted.
Yeah, just last thing, when the White House says in a 24-hour period, 109 people were delayed, 325,000 were coming in from many countries over the weekend. What do you say? That's their point, to say this has been blown out of proportion and exaggerated, and now it is being processed through.
Well, 109, that was in one night at midnight.